So today, why am I always messing with my microphone after I talk? I know why. It's because after I start talking, then I realize the microphone's not close or too far. Okay, so today, I want to talk about humans. I don't think we're humans. Everybody's a human. You're a human. I'm a human. I may be more alien than others, but as humans, I don't think we really understand how humans work, and I think we barely even understand ourselves, because I think that's something that caused me a lot of I don't want to say pain, I don't want to say hardship, but it made my life a lot more difficult than it needed to be, because one, I didn't understand myself very well. I kept trying to be a model student and be a student the way that everybody else is a student. Yeah, you hit the books, you study all day, you da 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 da. But the thing is, because I remember my dad told me this story about how he was when he was in school. He would never go to class, and then he would just like study intensely, like the 3-4 days leading up to the test, and he did fine. And he was always so proud of that. And when I went to college, I tried to replicate that. I was like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to school. I'm not going to class. I'll just study, right before the test. Worked out terribly for me. Got put on academic probation multiple times, because that's not the way that studying works for me. For me, and it sucks because it took me so many years to figure this out. For me, what works best is I can't miss a day of class. I've realized, and goes now with me in 4PP and after 4PP and just in my regular work life, I'm the kind of person who I need to go to class every single day. I need to do the assignments every single day, and I need to try to do the readings every single day. And when it comes time for the test, to be honest, I don't even need to study that much, because I just got to look over my notes, take good notes, and then that's it. But it sucks because it took me so long to figure that out. I guess I could try to think about why that is, but that's not the point of this video. The point of the video is, like, a lot of times also, and especially for me, I've been now effectively pretty much working, in retail, in food service, probably for the last 15 years. I mean, it's been a long time, and I like it and I don't like it. Do I want to get out? Yes, but sometimes I'm okay working with people. Really am. It's just, but the thing is, you notice that people always they think a certain way, they act a certain way, and it's not really that their fault. I think people, just general people, like to blame it on, oh, well, people are assholes, or people are not good people, or people are evil. And yeah, there are some people that are like that, but I think more of it is that I don't think people realize that they do the things they do. And if some were, and it's a very delicate balance, especially in America, because people in America are so, like, sensitive about stuff. Like, as soon as you, and this is around the world too, but specifically in America, is like, if you try to approach somebody and be like, hey sir, excuse me, I noticed that you're doing this. Like, even if you come up really, like, nice and politely, they'll be like, fuck you, man, fuck you, who are you to tell me what to do? And then their open receptiveness to your idea just like completely shuts down. It's like Inception. You have to, like, kind of like trick them and let them think that they're coming up with the idea for them to actually take hold of the idea in their mind. It's really, really strange. I'm trying to think of what the best examples are. I remember I used to go to this arcade all the time, and there was a DDR machine there, and then right next to the DDR machine, bam, there was a punching bag machine, and people would go up and they'd punch this little punching bag, and it'd register like Dragon Ball, boop, like 900 or something like that, like it would register the hit at how it is. And like people would punch it, and then this was like a place where you, like, a main event where you, like, drink, and then you get these macho machismo men trying to, like, slam it as hard as they can, and then there's they've alcohol involved, and their friends involved, and peer like, not peer pressure, but peer, like, audience looking on, and they get more and more crazy. Some people would try to, like, jumping, flying, kick it and stuff. But for us, the DDR players, it was the most annoying thing, because we'd be sitting there dancing, and then all of a sudden you'd hear this bam, slam right next, like right next to you. And then, you know, some of those people like, whoa, like fall into the, like almost into the DDR machine. And I remember I went up to the staff on one day. I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know, is there any way you can move that machine? Is there somewhere else you can move it? And they're like, oh, no, that's the optimum place. We want to worry about the optimum, you know, audience. And she just gave me this big shit about, and I was like, he's not listening to me. He's not going to listen. And, you know, I didn't go there for like a month, 3 weeks, and I come back in 3 weeks, and what happens? The machine was moved. Why? Because somebody probably got hurt. You know, somebody probably got fallen on or knocked on or punched by accident or whatever. I think I might have even asked the staff like what happened. I don't remember, but yeah, it's just dealing with people is such a weird thing because for people who don't work with people, I've said people a lot. For those who don't work with people a lot, I think they think the solution is very simple. Like for instance, something like recycling, right? Recycling is like, oh, well, everybody should recycle, so it's good for the environment. Let's not talk about how difficult it is or how cost effective it is. Like, let's just talk about, you know, you want to recycle and reuse things that we already used. I think that's a good concept. But the thing about it is like, how do you get people to recycle? Especially how do you get people to recycle when it's so easy to just throw things away, you know? And I think people's most first reaction is like, well, let's charge them. Let's charge them. If they don't recycle, tax them. Fine them. And like, dude, that seems like that's a very quick solution, but I'm telling you right now, that's not the best solution. You can't just make things illegal. You can't just fine people. It doesn't work that way. And the other way too, like to reward somebody, it's not like, hey, you recycle, so we'll give you some money for recycling. That doesn't work either. I know it seems very logical that would work, but that's not what works. And then, you know, so I'll go into those two is because, like, I forget, I read it in a book. It's the Freakonomics books. It's one of the books, I can't remember which one, but they were talking about how, number one, they were having a problem with, like, snakes in some country where there were snakes everywhere. They were rampant. They had brought in the snakes to get rid of, I want to say, the rats. Like, they had a rat problem, so they brought in snakes from somewhere else. And then the snakes were out, and then the snakes started eating all the rats, and then they had a snake problem because there was nothing on the island to kill the snakes. So the snakes were like running rampant, getting into everything, like killing off everything, and they're like, well, we need to get rid of the snakes. How are we going to get rid of the snakes? Okay, well, you know what? We'll pay people to get rid of snakes. Like, if you bring in a snake body, we'll give you X number of dollars, or whatever currency it was. We'll give you X number of dollars for that. And people started bringing them in. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And you start paying these people for snakes. And you start paying people for snakes. And then, like, they're, like, always paying people for snakes. And what did they find out? They found out that there had popped up these snake farms where people were just literally raising snakes by the dozens or the hundreds, killing them, and then bringing them in for the reward. So they weren't even out there getting the snakes out of the population. They found out people. That's what I mean by people not understanding people. People are smart. Is it worth it, like, to go running around looking for snakes and killing them? Or like, oh, well, every once in a while that I come across a snake in my house, I kill it and I bring it in for the money? No, people are smart. They realize, like, well, shit, why do I want to be a dum-dum and go around hunting down snakes in the wild? Fuck, I can just raise my own and get money for them. And that goes also with, like, the environment stuff. Like, there was in China, they tried to, like, down the CO2 emissions, and they're like, okay, well, for the factories, if y'all create this CO2, if you, like, take the CO2 into these plants and drop them off so we can dispose of them properly, then, we'll give you a reward. Well, what happened? The factories in China just started creating CO2 on purpose so they could turn in the bottles for the reward. And that, I think this happened in Mexico too. I think these are all from the same book. In Mexico, they have a big, like, traffic problem and a pollution problem. So they made it so that, like, they went by the license plates, like odds and evens or something like that. And the even license plates you can only drive on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the evens you can only drive on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And then Sunday, it's free day. You can everybody can drive or everybody can't drive. It's one of those two. And so they split it up. And they were what's the purpose of this? They were trying to get people to carpool. They were trying to limit the amount of cars on the street every day, right? And it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if you just make it so that they can't use a certain car, yeah, that works, right? Yeah. Well, what ended up happening? Again, you have to remember, people are smart. They're going to find another way. So what they found is that instead of just being like, oh, well, I can only drive these 1 days and I'll carpool the other days, people are like, nah, fuck that, dude. That's too much trouble for me. You know what? I'll just buy another car. And so people ended up buying 2 cars. And they were like, I'll drive this one on Monday, and I'll drive this one on Tuesday. I'll drive this one on Wednesday, drive this one on Thursday. And then when I'm not driving one, my wife will drive it. So you end up effectively doubled, like, well, not doubled, but you doubled within a household the number of cars and the possibility for pollution in traffic. So the one thing, not the one thing, but the thing I've learned about this is people are always going to try to, if you're asking people to do too much, they're always going to look at it at their benefit. Like, we're never going to solve the recycling problem because it's just too easy. It's like, should I recycle this? Yeah, I have to do that. Like, imagine, okay, so think about it in Japan. In Japan, when you recycle, you take a bottle. Here's what you have to do with the bottle. You have to take the plastic, right? You peel off this plastic, and you actually physically peel it all the way off, so it's just a plain bottle, right? You take the plastic, you put a bag, and you recycle all this plastic film with each other. Then you take off the cap. All the caps go into their own bag. So you put all the caps in their own bag. And then you have the bottle, you rinse it out, and you leave the plastic clear bottle with no... These ones don't come off very easily because it's America and we don't recycle. So oh, never mind, it comes off. So it's like this in Japan. So you take this, you throw it in a bag. You take the bottle cap, you throw it in a bag. You have the clear bottle, you put that in a bag. Maybe you crunch it down and you squeeze all the air out of it. Okay? And that's in Japan. So if you well, it's not even if you recycle in Japan. Like, all the people in Japan, at least within metropolitan Tokyo, all the people do that because there's trash pickups and they pick it up on different days. And if you don't pick it up and first of all, they follow all the rules, and if you don't follow the rules, you'll get in trouble for it. And Japanese people don't like following the rules. They like following rules. They don't like getting in trouble. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so imagine we had to do that in America. Like, do you think Americans could handle that in any sort of way whatsoever? Absolutely not. It'd be way too much trouble. Why would they go through all that trouble if they could be like, they're going to be like, should I recycle this bottle? Nah, I'll just throw it away. And then they just throw it in the trash one. Because, you know, we could just throw trash wherever we want. Because there's a handy-dandy trash pickup, you know, every few days. And we never have to worry about it. Out of sight, out of mind. So, I mean, the point of me talking about this is that, really, I don't know how to alleviate the problem, because it's just human nature. People are just like this, and how do you get people to not think about... I mean, it's understandable too, right? Why would a single person put more effort on themselves if there's no immediate benefit for themselves? Right? You could tell them that it's going to benefit the planet, it's going to benefit people 50 years down the line, but I mean, that's just not how people think. So, I mean, how do you solve the problem? How do you make things better? I really don't know. I thought about it a little bit. I have certain ideas, but it's not anything that I could solve in one video. So, hopefully you found this discussion interesting. It's something definitely that I would like to delve into deeper, or have deeper conversations with people about. We'll see. Maybe it'll lead to something bigger. Video is going long, so thanks for listening. Bye.